See it, folks? The eye up close. Got a riddle to start today out. What kind of flower is found on all humans' faces? What kind of flower is found on all human faces? Ready? Tulips. Yeah. Let's get going. We left off here at this part. Get the next slide. We'll get rolling. We'll be discussing today dynamic equilibrium and something called the semicircular canals. And you'll see them here. And they're called semicircles. They don't come all the way through. You see they're stopped right here. So they're semicircles, which is why they're called that. Okay, now this section of equilibrium is important to understand what happens when the head moves. Right? This structure here called maculae, which is receptors, they report on the position of the head, and they send information through the vestibular nerve to figure out what has to be done, corrected, or moved in order to keep us at balance. So what's in the maculae are hair cells, and these things called otoliths. Okay? They are tiny stones. They float in a gel around the hair cells. So the otoliths, tiny stones, are going to move when we move. Right? And I'll show you a picture of that currently, coming up next. So now we're taking the semicircular canals we have here, in this little section, we're blowing it up, and you'll see that the otoliths are up here, the little tiny stones, which they look like stones. You got the membrane, the hair tuft, the hair cell, supporting cell, and then the nerve fibers that are underneath. All these little hairs are innervated with nerve fibers. All right, so here's an example of what happens when we tilt our head forward. You'll see here that the force of gravity is coming forward, and you see that the fluid moves in that direction. All right, and you'll see that the nerve cells here get stimulated, and then there's going to be a correction from the nerves. That's how we don't fall over when we move forward. So what you're seeing in that picture is that these receptors respond to something called angulary or rotary movements. That's just what it's called. Dynamic equilibrium is our definition of homeostasis. So this is helping us maintain homeostasis so that we don't fall over or we're not dizzy when we move our head really quickly. So the hemolymph, or the fluid in there, with the combination of semicircular canals, helps us maintain balance. So when the head moves, it stimulates hair cells. Now, hair cells are really important in our ear in order to hear things, in order to keep us upright and make us not feel dizzy. So then the impulse is sent to the vestibular nerve to the cerebellum. Remember, the cerebellum is the one responsible for us being able to balance and coordination, being able to stand upright. If we have an issue or a brain injury in our cerebellum, it's very difficult to be able to move left and right. My mom had a tumor on her cerebellum, and one of the first things that we noticed was she couldn't stand upright. She was dizzy all the time, and she would walk into items around the house. So I knew that there was a problem in the cerebellum because, I'm close to a doctor. All right, now you're going to click on this video, and you're going to write down exactly how we hear. You're going to summarize the process of us hearing. This will be a short answer question a little bit later on your test. Okay, so now in this section, we talked about we just heard vibrations from sound waves move the membrane. So vibrations travel through what's called an elastic medium, and the medium is air. And vibrations travel further or more frequently through water. Water is a better medium than air is. Air actually slows it down a little more than water does. Hair cells get bent, and then an action potential starts in the cochlear nerve. So here we go with the action potentials again from the nerves, generating impulses of what we hear. Now to talk about pitches, high pitched and low pitched. All right, it's just the difference in what hairs are stimulated. So high-pitched sounds disturb the short, stiff fibers, and low-pitched sounds disturb the long, floppy fibers. You can remember that they're opposite. The low-pitched ones disturb the long ones, and the high-pitched ones disturb the short ones. You're in good shape. And lastly, here is the flow of hearing or vibrations through the ear. External ear being here, middle ear, and then internal ear being here. That's how we hear. All right, talk to you later.